Well, great. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening for those who are watching this on the recording. I'm Gijsbert and I want to talk to you today about the possibilities of connected underwriting. It's been a theme, connected, during this event, but let's hone in on underwriting and the possibilities, the potential of connected underwriting. I'm an industry lead for insurance. I've got a background in insurance. I used to be operation manager, change manager for Hiscox and Partner Re, and always between business and IT, let's say, managing the factory, let's say, of insurance, but also working very closely with underwriters to develop new products, get them configured in the system, and also working with how do we do business with intermediaries, with excite our customers, and also with the MGAs, for example. And if I look back on how I used to work with our core systems, our quite dispersed systems, then that's quite different from how we are as Appian supporting our customers. So I'd like to take you on that journey of what the status of a lot of insurers are, what conversations we have, and what another way of doing connected underwriting is, actually. So let's have a look at that. And I'm going to talk about music. Because every company, in your companies, you have good musical instruments, and you can make good music with that, for sure. But what if you actually combine those together? You need a director. Right? You need a director to really make sure that the musical instruments can play fantastic music and excite your customers. And that's what I want to talk about. And I'm coming back to that analogy. But let's look at the situation now. I mean, we've discussed about the change that is happening in the world. A lot of things have changed in the last 2 years, but it gives a lot of opportunity as well. And that's why the title here is The Race is On. There's so much new technology, there's so much new data that is available to you, and you can use it. And whenever you build something, though, you need to make sure it's agile, it's robust, and also allows your people to be creative, to join new business models, to define new products and excite your customers. And that's also what Accenture says on this slide. Underwriting can be done differently. It's not just an underwriter trying to collect all the data, understand the risk, and understand who they are insuring. It provides a lot of possibilities to take underwriting to a different level. So I'm talking about that. Lots of opportunities. That's the key thing here. But let's look at underwriting. What are the drivers to talk about connected underwriting? First of all, as always, the skyrocketing customer expectations. Customers expect more. Digitalization is happening. They get things done through Amazon on their mobile. But that's also expected from insurers. And you could read, instead of customer here, also intermediary or broker, because that's where you're dealing with as an insurer. And they expect the same level. So we're coming back to that later on. And the inefficient, dispersed systems and looking at spreadsheets and documents and swivel chairing between these systems, that doesn't work anymore. If you want to really get efficiency and do very speed to market, then you need to change something. And there's a profit component to it, right? Every business wants to grow, so it's about growing your business, getting more premium in. Also, premium is vanity, and profit is sanity, right? So you need to make a profit as well. And understanding your risk and your customers, you need different tools to do that more efficient. And last but not least, it's about people, right? If I talk about a lot of insurance companies, then there's a war on talent. Underwriting is a very exciting job to have, But if you find people and you show them their workplace and you show them 6 different systems and spreadsheets that they have to use, it's kind of daunting for these people. And the question is whether you can keep these people in that place. You want to make sure that these highly educated, smart people can do the things they're good at and not do a lot of admin tasks. So these are the drivers. But also let's have a look at the IT landscape of what insurers are facing. And I oversimplified it with this picture. But this is sort of the siloed structure that is set up in a lot of insurance organizations. Systems are created according to the departments that were defined. So customer service, policy administration that underwriters are using, and policy admin, claims, billing, and accounting. And you could bring the analogy of the musical instruments here. These are the people or the department that can make the music, but we need to bring them together. And to add to the complexity, insurers have not one claim system, not one policy system, but they have multiple policy systems and multiple claim systems. Why? Well, they have grown over the years, and through acquisition and through mergers, other claim systems, other policy systems came into the company. So there's books of business in different sets of claim systems, different sets of policy systems. And sure, there's a lot of projects happened in the last 10 years at a lot of insurers, and I've been part of that as well, to bring the old systems to a new system. And there's always somebody in the company, I mean, I've heard that a lot, saying, oh, that's just a data transfer. Well, it's not, right? You buy a new claim system or a new policy system, and you have to completely configure the products, the contracts in that claims or in that policy system. And it's a really complicated project, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and very costly. And most insurers I speak to, those projects are stopped sort of halfway through, and only the auto book or only the marine book is merged to that new policy system. So what you then end up is the new system, but still the old systems are in place with the other sets of data. So multiple systems, dispersed data, that's what we're facing. So has there been innovation at insurance? Sure, there's been a lot of innovation at insurers. But if we look at it, it's been often in the same siloed structure. For example, well, let's speed up our quote-to-bind process, and let's set up a portal that can get the business in quicker. All good. Or let's tackle our first notice of loss issue and set up a way to scan the documents that are sent to us, or do something smart with an RPA. All good. Then the data gets in quicker. But is that the only thing you can do, actually? I mean, think about underwriting. What if you want to, I mean, the essence is to understand the risk and to understand the customer. So for that, you need actually extra data, like who is this customer? Does that person have a business as well? Do we insure the business? So your CRM data is really important here. What's the claims history, the complete claims history? How is that person paying? So data from the other systems. Or let's take it to the next level. What is the flood risk of these commercial properties? Can we use satellite data for that? Can we use telematics data to underwrite the car, a commercial fleet? Then you're taking it to the next level, right? And that's not working in this way. And also customer service, let's talk about that a little bit. Doing also piecemeal usage of, for example, chatbots or other things, but often automation is done there in a very uncontrolled way. So if something goes wrong, it gets into, you get automatic letters at home and try to fix that problem. I know a lot of examples of that, but I don't have time to go through that. But you need to make sure you are in control, basically. You remain in control with the automation that you implement. So complexity of underwriting. Let's explain that, because it's not always clear to everyone what an underwriter does. And that picture that's explained in this picture here. So the customer here is the person in the middle talking to the customer, obviously, to understand what is the risk they want to insure. And it depends, obviously, if you talk about life or personal lines or commercial lines. But let's take a complex situation here, for example, in commercial lines. The underwriter not only has to deal with the customer, but they also have to deal with people internally. So underwriting operations that supports the underwriter to do the administrative tasks, but also the senior underwriters to get a referral to say, yes, you can underwrite this risk. It's in our sweet spot. Or actuaries that give insight on the pricing and do the analysis of the data. But not only the internal people, but also externally talk about your brokers who are representing your customer, get more information from them, collect data that is missing, but also experts on risks that are going to check the commercial property, for example, to get more information on the risk. So they have to deal with external parties as well, and not to forget also the reinsurers, right? If you need facultative reinsurance to bring the risk down of the risk that you are insuring. And then meanwhile, talking to these people, you have to collect all the data that we talked about, bring that all together, look at all the documentation, and whilst you're doing that, think about the competition. Is my product good enough? Is it in our sweet spot? Am I going to underwrite this? To what price am I going to underwrite it? So that's why the KPIs are here, like gross written premium growth and profit. So keep that in mind. So it's quite a complex job that actually asks for workflow and case management combined together. So that's where you need to support your underwriters. And we have done that. We have developed applications and Appian to support our customers in life and in property and casualty. So let's look at life, for example. 2.5 years ago, we had the chance to show Forrester in the automated life insurance underwriting wave what we could do to help underwriters in that process, to orchestrate end-to-end. Submission comes in. What is this person? What do they want? What kind of life insurance do they want? Analyze the person, and then also end-to-end, so also make sure that they get the policy documentation at the end and that it's all signed. So we showed that to Forrester, and as you can see, we clearly came out as a leader on the top right-hand corner, and Forrester said that we are a very robust platform that can be used by life insurance companies that are seeking for a single platform to tackle their business and insurance processes. Since then, we are collaborating also with some people that are on this picture that are very good in rules engines, and we are going to market together because we are not a rules engine company with specialized insurance data, but we can do the workflow and the case management. So let's look at property and casualty. I talked about it a bit earlier. We are really supporting property and casualty customers both in the US and in Europe and in Asia. So what you see here on the right-hand side, for those who didn't recognize the picture, this is the Lloyd's underwriting room in London. So the Lloyd's market is a market where insurers and brokers are coming together to talk about their risks that the brokers have representing their customers and finding 100% coverage for those risks. So they walk around with a file with a lot of documentation and with a slip and get the 100% coverage from the insurers. That way of doing business is going on for around more than 300 years in Lloyd's. And yes, they have had change. They're trying to tackle the documents And in 2018, they also had a big change because the dress code changed and you do not have to wear a tie anymore. So that was a big change, but that is not comparable to the change they had at the start of COVID, because in the beginning of 2020, for the first time in 300 years, the marketplace of Lloyd's was shut down overnight. So that meant that this building was closed and everything, all that discussion between brokers and insurers overnight went digital. And all that documentation about the risk was scanned and sent to insurers. Brokers started to shop with insurers, sending them submissions to ask for quotes. So you can imagine what that meant for insurers. The inboxes were inundating with flooding with all requests coming in, and they had to, the existing process do not work anymore. And that change is staying, right? Because at the moment the building is already open, but the attendance levels are back to 50%, around that figure. So that change is staying, as we all know. Some elements of that change is staying. And how do we support them? We actually build applications to tackle all that whole submission process workflow, to support the underwriters on that. So there's enormous underwriting efficiency that was gained. CNA has announced publicly that they had an efficiency of 60% for every case that they are handling. And also the response time to report back to the broker, yes, we're interested, I'm sending you a quote, or no, that's not in our sweet spot, thank you very much, and give a nice answer to them. So supporting the underwriters in that. And last but not least, also get a complete view of all the risks that you want to underwrite and that are in process, right? If that is in Outlook and Excels, you don't have oversight of what is about to be underwritten. So that is enormous change for the customers that we're working with. So these are some examples from Life and P&C. I also wanted to show you, get a bit concrete in terms of how can that look like. So let's have a look at that. This is two screenshots I collected from demonstrations that we've given to the customers that we have. And on the left-hand side, you can see this kind of a workbench that an underwriter would see when they come in the office and say, okay, so what's my work going on? What's the status of the quotes that I sent out? What are the new submissions that are coming in? And applying, for example, IDP is applied in this to structure the scanned documents and get the key information out so that structured data is available to the underwriter. And also in the queue, apply business rules that you can define, saying what is my priority? What is the key things that I want to focus on? Is it the renewal quotes, or is it the new submissions, or is it the quote follow-up, right? All these actions that an underwriter has to do to support them in the priorities. And on the side, you can see actions that they can take, like talk to their senior underwriters, like, hey, is this okay? Can we underwrite this? Get that referral, capture the audit trail, not to forget, right, which is really important for insurers. And having that all in one screen. And if you click on one of these actions, get a complete view, as you see on the right-hand side, of what the submission or this quote, what's the status of that? What needs to be done next? And this is the view of an underwriter, but we also have a view of the management team. So you can see completely the amount of submissions per business line, the status of every quote, and that gives tremendous insight that we heard from CNA, for example, that was game-changing. So the key message is, like, imagine this connected insurance future, right? So it's not only about the dispersed data in your core IT landscape that you have at the moment, which is depicted here in the blue at the bottom, where the musical instruments are that you want to play music with. It's also the external data, like from telematics or IoT devices, or insurtechs for that matter, that have a niche play that you want to collaborate with as an insurer. So it's that data, but also where music comes from. And on the right-hand side, you have the parties that you collaborate with, like your brokers and your experts. And what is key there, like if you want to expose data to these people to collaborate, it is key to have data consistency, right? Not that you have synchronization issues or there's information missing, but get the efficiency there. That's really key. And once you have that orchestrated all together, and you have that agility and the creativity that I talked about in the beginning, then you can also start new business models, right? Do embedded insurance or join affinities, tap into new ideas, new markets to do more business and make profitable business that fits in your sweet spot. So lastly, as I wanted to say and give to you, there's a lot of opportunities out there. I urge you to be the director of your future and make some fantastic music with what you have and what you can do, and excite your customers and your brokers. So that's what I had to say today. I hope that gives you a bit of insight. And if there's any questions, then please feel free to reach out to me at the Community Hub or after this session. So thank you very much.